What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, and you are watching Ranger Wrap Up. Peace. What's up, everybody? This is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger.
Welcome. Saturday. It's Saturday, everybody. And you know what that means? It's time for the Ranger Wrap Up. And you know what I say every Saturday? Thank you so much for joining. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you are here with us, and
we appreciate it.
Truly appreciate it. We got another full house today. We got our buddy all the way from the UK, Mr. Heirloom. How you doing there, bud?
I'm not too bad, thank you. How are you? How are you, gentlemen?
We're doing good. Of course, we got Daniel. Daniel, hit us with the AKAs.
Oh, man, I was thinking trying to make some new ones, but I haven't had any yet. So, holla at your boy. It's me. That's right, the BSG, Battlestar Galactica, a.k.a. the Purveyor of Petty, a.k.a. the... let's think of another one. No, that's good enough. Purveyor of Petty will just stay where it is.
And, of course, the leader of the crew, the big boss man, Mr. the Illuminerdi Joe. That's not his name.
Joe Illuminerdi.
What's up, guys? How you doing? It is a beautiful Saturday here in Los Angeles, California. We're talking about Power Rangers today. What can be better? We got some news on season 2 of Dino. What is this? Dino.
Fury, dude.
Fury. I don't know why I was going to say Dino Charge. Like it wanted to come out in Dino Charge, but we got some news about Dino Fury, and we're going to be navigating these waters and talking about more of what's going to be going on in the future. It's funny because I felt like we were talking about this last August, but here we are.
I was going over old videos and saying the same thing. I started commenting on Heirloom's videos like, oh, this is interesting. It's going to feel like deja vu in a while.
This is interesting.
It's crazy.
I did see that comment.
A lot of people in the chat, though, so thank you guys for joining us. Thomas Franco, Jared Hodges, Edward Sanchez, Noah Cummings, Robert Amaya. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining us this beautiful Saturday afternoon. We do have this super chat feature. It is open to use. It helps support the show. And, hey, maybe we got some more Power Ranger news. Maybe.
Hey, don't we have I think we could do a giveaway today, right, Joe?
Oh, we do. We do have a giveaway. Actually, yeah, I have like literally in this little closet back here is a box of Power Ranger toys that we are giving away. And Heirloom, I need your address, buddy. You got to send me your address so I can send you that morpher.
I will do.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's kick it off. Jezzer, what do we got?
Well, I mean, first off, I think middle of the week we got some news from they posted No Pink Spandex posted it, but it was from the conference call. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole conference call, but I think, Heirloom, you listened to the whole thing, like weeding out any Power Ranger content there. What was the findings that you found out?
They're talking about new content, but that kind of, it goes around like new content. I think they said they were going to try something different, and they was going to a streaming platform, and that was pretty much it. Out of 55 minutes, it's just literally 10 seconds of, yeah, we're going to do this, and then that's it. And you're like, oh.
Is it? Don't you guys think that that's kind of a sign for where Power Rangers ranks on their priority list as far as Hasbro in the big scheme of things?
No, I don't actually.
You don't?
I don't. I would have agreed with you 6 months ago, maybe like 9 months ago, but now I don't know. But we got a super chat from Larry. He's showing you guys how to use that as an example. I would have loved to have asked a question in there just so we could really show like how this works. But you can ask a question for any one of the four of us. If we can answer it, we will, and we'll get to it. But I don't. Back to your question, Jezzer. And the reason why I don't think that it's on a back burner or at all, I feel that what they're doing is really trying to understand what the franchise needs and not trying to spend excess money doing it. I think that they've done a lot of market research in this point now. Look, the Lightning Collection, for all of the bad that's kind of happened with some of the paint jobs. The one thing that I can honestly say about the Lightning collection is that for the most part, it's hardly packed on shelves. Now, does that mean that the stores aren't ordering enough, or does that mean that people are buying a ton? Who knows? But it does seem like there's at least a plan going forward with what they're going to do with Power Rangers. And I think little by little, we're starting to get that to unfold. Same thing with a lot of their properties, to be honest with you. Same thing. It feels like they're starting this new thing with Transformers as well. So it just seems like a lot of readjusting, especially in this year. And we started to see that a little bit last year when COVID happened with Snake Eyes, but now we're going to start seeing a full-on push for a Hasbro's property with G.I. Joe. So I think in terms of priority, I think Power Rangers is still a priority. I just think they're handling it with a lot more care.
True. MIRLZY Merlzy says, hope they keep going with toys, and Kaiser has been great, and saving money with 4 suit actors has been appealing. Now, what's your guys' take on that? Like, I know Heirloom's been watching Zen Kaiser. Is it adaptable?
I don't think it is, because mainly from what we saw with previous ones, like, when they use the guns and stuff, like, you're not really meant to use them, but it's very heavily based. Plus also, I think it'd be very hard to kind of adapt some of the series because you've got different powers from different Sentais. And then in the kind of recent episode, they used different suits from Go Ranger to like loads of other ones. So I don't think you'd be able to cut them out, not unless you ask Toei to say, hey, could you refilm these sort of scenes for me? But I don't know, because it's mainly Zenkaiger or Zenkaiger where he's looks like a Kamen Rider. So I think that if he looked more like, say, I don't know, like any of the other Red Rangers or anything like that, I think it could have been possible, but I don't think this series could. And I think that's why Toei kind of moved away and was like, hey, we'll do our own thing now. Leave the Power Rangers thing behind. We'll focus on something different. And then also, yeah, I think that's it. I haven't seen a lot more of the newer stuff, but I don't think it's possible at the moment.
We did get another super chat from Merlzy. Thank you for that. There's no questions in there. But, yeah, I mean, from your guys' opinion, just based on the current climate of the brand and how they, all the recent announcements and how they've been releasing stuff, are we moving towards maybe a future in Power Rangers without not relying on the Super Sentai? Like, does it look like that just from the financial and moves that they've been doing?
How many times? Like, I think that when we started the Illuminerdi, at least in the Power Ranger community, this is the one thing that we are going to be known for, right? Is this this toys? And now I felt like back in August when we first, well, I don't even, it was last July when we first kind of talked about it. Here we are, almost a year later. And we're starting to see that plan unfold. And I know that back when it sounded crazy back in July that like, oh, Power Rangers could never split with Toei. But
it's still the same. No, people are still saying the same thing though. It's still the same conversations. But I think same. I think with this one, it's just because it seems like we're waiting a little bit longer, and like the evidence isn't as blatantly obvious, like with the Dino crossover or Dr. K, or it's not blatantly obvious. Like, it's not like a cut and dry answer. Like, oh, yep, here's the answer. I guess that came true. Like, I feel like everything. I don't know. What are signs that you guys see that, oh, that's pushing towards that direction?
Well, look at the original article we released. We talk about almost all these points in some variation of stuff we reported last year. We talked about the contract ending in 2021. For some odd reason, everyone was like, hey, it's not ending. There's going to be a second season of Power Rangers. Here we are now about to talk about Power Rangers going to another place. We're starting to see those seeds planted, and now they're coming to fruition. This is the year that it's happening. So I think one of the first big steps, honestly, too, was when we saw what Zenkaiger looked like and how different. I think that was a big first step of realizing, wow, this is going to be a lot different. Unless somehow they tie Power Rangers into Transformers and then they do it that way. But it doesn't seem like that's on the docket anytime soon. A shared universe doesn't seem like it's happening within Power Rangers and some of the other properties that Hasbro owns. So we're going to have to wait and see on that.
Daniel?
I would say also it has to deal with the large amount of like New Zealand footage that we're getting. The reintroduction of the Morphin Masters. These things that they're doing as far as dropping these plot points and the way that they're shooting, and kind of stepping away from what they need from that source content. So it's them trying to not really flex, but to show themselves we can do it. So that's how I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think you also have a look at how much Sentai footage they've used. Now, if you take out the Megazord fights and stuff like that, because obviously they don't want to use their own stuff, you've got something like maybe like 2% that they've used so far. Yeah. So I kind of think that they're reducing the Sentai maybe to kind of bring people in and say, hey, we can do it without it now. We've got the funds, we've got the money, let's do it this way.
Mm-hmm. And it also makes sense for them. I mean, well, as fans, I know that we get a little frustrated that we get so many Dino kind of motifs, but I can understand why Dino Fury, why they're pushing Dino Fury the way they are. I mean, I think they're looking at it as almost their resurgence of the Power Ranger franchise just in general. And we started seeing, like I said, seeing that again last year with the way the Beast Morphers ended. But Jezer, something that you had said earlier, and something that somebody else said in the chat, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but they talked about how Nickelodeon was treating Power Rangers on the show. And look, Daniel and Jezer, you guys have both been live in studio with me when we've had former Rangers on, and one of the biggest complaints they had was always about how Nickelodeon would not promote Power Rangers. I mean,
not at all.
You guys can speak to this a little bit because we've been in the room when this has been voiced to us.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the major concerns is that it's not high on Nickelodeon's priority list to promote a show that they don't have full control of, in a sense, or full rights to, I guess, is a way of saying it. So if, we'll get to it later, but if, going forward, it wouldn't be with Nickelodeon, it would only make sense for them to want to look to a partner that they can fully trust with, marketing it.
Well, I mean, I agree. Like you said, we had our Hamilton moment. We were in the room when it happened, where they pretty much are telling us right there, you're like, no, they don't promote us. If you ask one of my friends, hey, I know that I'm on Power Rangers. Oh, great. Where is it? What channel? Blah, blah. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I could tell you, hey, I'm on Nickelodeon. You'll never know because promotion for that does not exist. It's not their product. They're not looking to spend money on it. And that's the thing. And now talking about where it is going, I still have the question concerning that when it comes to promo. I mean, when it comes to Netflix promo, now Netflix is doing this thing where once a month they'll show a bunch of clips of stuff telling you what's coming this month.
Yeah.
And then they've been doing that on actual television, network TV, cable, and everything else. But they won't really promote children's stuff.
We'll get to the Netflix thing in a little bit, but when Hasbro during the conference they said that they're going to announce a new Power Rangers TV series and a new film. We are and also going to a platform soon. We already knew about the film. They've already established it. What are your guys' take on when they say new Power Rangers TV?
We've already known about it.
I know, but I'm saying it doesn't sound to me like another. It could be a live action, but it seems like it's. They want something.
They're gonna use another
medium or something different, something different. Why would you use this specific word?
I think this is if anybody remembers the conference call that happened previously, not the one that Heirloom was just listening in on like a spy, but the one that was posted. I'm just kidding. They had announced then that there was going to be more of not more of an adult Power Ranger show in the works too, and I think this, as well as animated things and movies, if this animated thing is this adult new show that they're or maybe aged up new show that they're doing, it's possible that could be what they're talking about. But whatever it is, it seems very different from the show that people are watching on television right now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just that wording.
It's true. I mean, just that wording alone makes it kind of like they were speaking exclusively concerning this new show and saying it's going to be something different, something set apart from what we've already been accustomed to. So, I mean, with that, there's a lot that's in the air. It could be animated. It could be still live action, but aged up. It could be this, that, and the other. We don't know yet. But it's very interesting. And it gives me a lot of hope because of simply the wording.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. If it is more of an anthology Power Ranger series, which is something else people have rumored about, focusing on different seasons. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, there's so many things that we could unpack really, because like all the information that we had about the movie from last year, I'm starting to find out more now. But like the information from the movie last year seems like you could tell, like the information that we knew at least, that we reported on it. You could go check out our website just on how it was tying everything together. You're starting to see that now though, which is cool. But this new era that they're having for Power Rangers, it feels like they're starting to branch the franchise out a little bit more and starting to reconnect with some of those fans that they may have lost from the past. At least that's what seems to be the play here. What I really am curious about is what is going to happen with Boom Studios, because most of Hasbro's property is on IDW. And from everything that I remember, and I don't quote me on this one because I'd have to go back and look, but everything I remember that all the contracts were aligning in 2021, which here we are with this Nickelodeon thing. And I could have swore the Boom Studios one was up too. But we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. Or at least I'm going to have to go back and look and check that situation out.
Have you heard of any instances or precedents where a comic book series moved over to a different publisher and still keep that original story, the original stories?
Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say it. Yeah,
Star Wars. From Dark Horse to Marvel. Anything they didn't want in canon, they called it Star Wars Legends. Everything that they're using for the canons is part of the Star Wars continuity. So that was an easy switch. Matter of fact, I think that went from Marvel to Dark Horse to Marvel. So, but the one thing I was honestly going to say about this new Power Rangers series is I'm very curious, because the one thing that we're starting to see in Boom Studios, they're using suits from the past. They're using the was it Bioman, I believe, that they used, the Prism suits in one of the comics. And obviously the Morphin Masters, they're really, like Daniel had said earlier, and I'm supporting his statement, they really are building that mythology. But I'm curious to see if they're building the mythology with old Sentai motifs from the past that they may have rights to, or if they're building their new mythology with things like the Morphin Masters, which they're creating brand new. Because there could be a lot said if they are using motifs from the past, at least in comic form or toy form, or hell, even anime form. So I'm really curious to see how that part of it's going to play out.
I feel that it's going to be both. I feel that they're going to take what they still can reach back into, that's still in their bag, that they can still say, yeah, we're going to be able to use. I think they're going to try to do that and exhaust that, as well as introducing us to things that are new.
What would, in your guys' opinion, what would you want to see for their new show? I put in quotations. What do you guys want? Like as a fan, or like, I know I'm a fake fan, but as a fan, what do you think works and works for the brand and works financially? What do you guys want to see?
Erlen, why don't you hit us with it?
I would really love to see a Ranger War.
Oh,
like full on stuff. Like Zordon comes back from some strange, bizarre thing, and it's against Demetria, and they just literally go it to town. I would love to see it, or something like, say, Civil War, where it's.
I knew it.
Yeah, it'd be so cool. Or maybe
just get the Russos.
Yeah, bring them in. I would be more happy. I'd even write to them every single day for 3 years to say, please bring this in. But I can imagine, or something like, say, a really big evil like Endgame. I think something like that would be good. We did have the Legendary War, but I'd love to see something like majorly different. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. And Austin taking the lead. Yeah, I'd like that. I think that'd be really cool.
I feel like that's what we would have gotten with Hexagon. Maybe they can repackage that and maybe do that plan that Erlen wanted. But I think that if Power Rangers is going to succeed, it's going to have to do it on multiple levels. One is going to be for the collector's market, because Number one, I mean, look at those Transformers collectors. They're rabid fans, and they remind me a lot of Power Ranger collectors in terms of like noticing paints and things that are off. They're very accurate collectors. But another part of that is to keep that young audience fresh. So I would honestly keep it in a perfect world here, guys, to have a kids TV show, kind of like what we're having with Dino Fury, something that's like a Dino Fury. And then we want something that's a little bit more aged up for fans that have been in it for the long haul like us. And I think that they can do a lot with that because, look, you guys had mentioned, I know you guys got a little hate for it, but you guys had mentioned Voltron. And you know, animated form of Power Rangers sounds pretty cool. But even bringing back and doing a live action version of the show with a more adult themes can be pretty cool also.
Here's my thing. Okay. Live action, doing it this way, that way, making it like like a Marvel, like a Disney Plus kind of thing, it's costly. It's going to cost. You're going to have to up the choreography. You're going to have to possibly shoot in places where it's like, now we actually need SAG actors. You're going to have to do a lot of work, and it's going to cost every bit of the way. Animated is almost limitless. The amount of money you can throw into animated and make and do whatever you want, it would be amazing. And then you can have your dream team of Rangers come in and just voice it. Dude, I mean, that is the way to go.
At that point, then you fall into SAG too, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, your SAG quote for voice for VO versus your SAG quote for live action is less. You're still spending less. That's what I think. Go for it, right?
But I do agree with that. But that all depends on what your production is, like how the show's going to look. There's a lot that's going to go into that. I agree with most of everything you said. I just think that look, having a live action element, I feel like, as we've seen with a lot of these, and who's to say that it's going to be a full on like 22-minute episode, or who knows, it could be like YouTube content that can be like 10-minute little things. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that they can toy with, and I think that they're playing it very close to the chest right now, listening to some fan reaction and going from there. But it is a fascinating time because I don't think. And by the way, I was going to ask you. We'll get to that in a second. Go ahead, Jessica.
Actually, you bring up a pretty interesting concept, like how you're saying, short little clips or stuff. So I was watching. I've been just absorbing a lot of like Mortal Kombat content on HBO Max, and they have a series. A series on there. I think it's let me see what's Mortal Kombat something, but who's in it? Jerry Ryan from Star Trek is in it, and the dude from why am I blanking on his name? Plays Jackson. There's a ton of actors in it. And they're short clips, but the production value is like amazing. It's like I think at the most 8 minutes. They're little origin stories for each of these characters. If YouTube and Hasbro want to make something like that, I would be all for it. Especially like if they bring back some of the OGs and if they still have the suits available to them, I think that'd be amazing. Like kind of like the production value that we get out of Band the Sun,
Right. You brought up a really good point that I think really goes overlooked. Actually, is that Power Rangers has historically been a non-union show.
Yeah.
Power Rangers at this point flip because that's a big deal for all the crew members involved. Or do they straight up move production? Like what? There's obviously a shift that's changing, and that's where it's going to get really tricky. Is these union shifts?
Now, well, the thing is, one thing that we do have to think about, and this is something that Heirloom spoke about on one of his previous videos. If they do get to team up with Netflix, that means now when it comes to production budget, it's cut in half for what Hasbro has to pay, and then Netflix will be the other portion. With that, that's a large amount of money. So they can go ahead and spend that money for, all right, let's go ahead and pay your SAG wages. Let's pay the union wages. Let's go ahead and shoot on location or, whatever it may be and make it grand. They may be able to say, all right, fine, we're going to go ahead and hire the choreography from that Karate Kid spin-off show. They may be able to, there you go. They may be able to do these things now because now it's like, all right, hey, I'm putting half, you're putting half. This makes for a bigger pot.
Well, that brings us into the next topic is Chance Perez let it slip that second season's next home would be Netflix. But first off, we don't know if he misspoke or what that actually means. But what if Netflix isn't like the permanent home for Power Ranger series going forward? What if they just airing it on Netflix and it's like a temporary thing, kind of like when Wild Force was going on when it switched from Saban to Disney, but it's still technically a Saban production. What if they're done filming? They'll be done filming second season while still in New Zealand, still within the time frame of of where they're working with Nickelodeon, and Netflix is just a platform for them to release the episodes. What if it has no effect on its budget? What if I don't think we're gonna see any effect from season 1 to season 2 as far as production value.
As far as that last sentence, that may be true. I mean, because that would be a big juxtaposition for the fans that are watching. And then here goes season 2, and it's like, we upped everything. And they're like, wait, what's going on? What's going on? Like, no. I think are they already shooting season 2? Or I don't even know. But
I think they're coming up to it.
They're in the midst of it.
See? So, I mean, yeah, they're not going to, in the middle of it, let's go ahead and change it up. It's too late. But the next season following, if they stay on Netflix, I think we'll definitely see a change. Also, I mean, CEO was saying how they want to bring it to a far more steady kind of idea or platform, which was streaming service. My thing was, at first I asked, why did they not want to bring it to Paramount Plus? But you think about the subscriptions and the subscription numbers for Paramount Plus versus Netflix. A lot of people will say, oh yeah, I don't have Netflix anymore, but yet the subscription is still high versus what they have for Paramount Plus. I need more eyes to look at this show. So where would I put it? I'll put it on the largest streaming platform that exists. So, I mean, that's how it makes sense to me.
I think the Power Rangers Netflix thing is interesting for a multitude of reasons. And one of them is they just took Power Rangers off of Netflix, for the majority of it. Mm-hmm. And that's a move if this is going to be like your new streaming home. That's number one. Number two, Daniel had brought up another good point about, and you too, Jezer, about you don't think you're going to see a change in production value. I completely agree with you, mainly because it seems like this new deal, unlike the Netflix originals, where Netflix usually pays half of that budget, this seems like more of a licensee deal, kind of like what the MCU characters, or whatever the Defenders. Mm-hmm. It seems more like a deal like that, where it's going to be a time frame type of deal. So that's fascinating going into. But the thing that really stands out to me, the thing that really baffles me, is that if this is your new home, why did you take all the other seasons off? That's another thing. But also, you could tell that Nickelodeon, however that deal was going to shake out, they didn't re-up that deal, because I agree with Daniel. It would have been, Power Rangers would have been on Paramount Plus. That's a lot of original content for those CBS properties are going. Nickelodeon has their own hub there. So it would have been plastered all over there, and there's no presence of Power Rangers at all on obviously Paramount Plus.
But with Netflix, when you say if say they turn around and went, Dino Fury is on here, now we've put everything because we've got a new series, and everyone floods back to it. So all the fans have gone, I've cancelled my subscription. Well, it's back now, so I'll then pay the extra so they get a flood of new people, and then they keep them in there and say, look, yeah, we've got a brand new series coming up. It's this series, animated or whatever, and they go well, we've brought you back now, so it makes things a bit easier for them that way.
I mean,
absolutely.
But like Joe was saying, why take them off and then put them back on? I really think that this Netflix thing with season 2 is more of a contract obligation rather than anything else, like they're doing with Beast Morpher is still on Netflix and Mighty Morphin still on Netflix. It's just we have to keep this on here for a certain amount of time before we move it somewhere else. Kind of like the Spider-Man deal, where everybody's talking about how Spider-Man's coming to Disney Plus. Yeah, it's coming to Disney Plus after it's done over at Netflix. After they're done hosting it on Netflix. So I think that's the situation with Dino Fury season 2. It's they're just going to be hosting it for, 2 years, and then after that they're going to move somewhere else. Where else? I don't know. I don't think that they'd go through all the trouble of removing all these seasons to different platforms or back to YouTube and then move it back. I just think that this is just they're just fulfilling a contract.
But look, outside of the hardcore fans, Netflix got the better of this deal because like when most people search Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the instant thing that comes to mind. Matter of fact, here we are 27 years later, and when you walk down the aisle of like Target, you're seeing, you might see some Dino Fury, but you're gonna see some Mighty Morphin stuff, and that's 27 years old. You know what I mean? So it has this iconic kind of like, it's just it has iconic staying power, like a show like that warrants. But it's so recognizable that Netflix really won on that. But hardcore fans, you know, if they really wanted to stack their YouTube library with past Power Ranger episodes, it would make a lot of sense because it would essentially be capitalizing on the advertisement dollar that YouTube would be giving Hasbro. So it'd be almost like double dipping. But there has to be a plan for this library because that's a large chunk of footage to not be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
There has to be. I mean, maybe they're trying to remedy some of the concerns of the fans by putting certain seasons on YouTube. But I feel like they're going to release the whole library on something.
Hey, so let's kind of like let's shoot the shit here on this one a second. Heirloom, when you found out about the YouTube thing before most of anybody else, chat me up. Talk to me about how this Netflix thing looks to you, and tell me if you've heard any rumblings even prior to this being kind of leaked by Chance Perez.
I haven't heard anything else since then. It was my friend. He spoke to me and told me a few things about it, and then I kind of put two and two. And it was just building up how much money that they would make from said series. But I've heard like kind of nothing. But with Chance, I feel like they're telling him stuff because in that interview recently, it wasn't like a slip of the tongue. It was more like, oh, so what you got? Oh, by the way, Nickelodeon season 2 Netflix, and it was more kind of forced, like he had to get it out. So I don't know if he's the kind of the scapegoat at the moment because you know no one else has come out and said, oh, by the way, yeah, that's not happening. So I think they're giving the stuff to the actors. So it'd be interesting to see what the others do at the moment. But with Chance, I think maybe they've just either he's not signed that NDA type thing, like you know, for other information coming in. He's just he's been Tom Holland basically. he's just going like, yeah, I can talk about this at any point. So, but I've not heard any more rumblings whatsoever about where it's going to go or anything. And obviously coming off Netflix, I thought that was kind of a ballsy move. Because if you take all of it, you're then making the fans go, I really want to watch it. So if they upload it to Paramount, Disney, or wherever they want to put it, then you're going to get the following of the fans to go over there and spend more money. But then you also have the downside of if someone's got like, I've got Netflix, I've got Paramount Plus, I've got this, I don't want to pay an extra service fee. It's just, you know, YouTube would be a great idea because they've got the money. But I don't know if like you'd have to have a well-established platform, not something like, say, like, I don't know, MySpace. And they stick it all over there and go, you got to watch it there, but pay £20 a month. So it's just really weird the way that they're doing it.
Heirloom, you make another good point, and that is that, you know, number one thing is that if Power Rangers get spread out, that is the worst thing for us as fans. Like, I don't want to have to go to 14 different streaming platforms to figure out how I'm going to watch Lost Galaxy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that just kind of sucks. But on the flip side of that, it makes a lot of sense for the library to be on YouTube, especially the show Power Rangers as it is now. Mainly because you know, a lot of young kids are consuming YouTube probably more so than a lot of these other streaming platforms. Man, Mia's here watching fucking YouTube all day, man. I know FGTV. You know, I know who FGTV is, and I know the games he plays. It's insane. She just watches YouTube all day. So I can completely understand if Power Rangers does end up on a streaming service, or not streaming service, but fully on YouTube. And also, aren't they doing the same thing with old school G.I. Joe episodes on Hasbro's YouTube channel? Aren't they G.I. Joe episodes? Yep.
So, if you go there right now, I think they're doing a live Hasbro G.I. Joe right now.
Wow.
Hey, Jezzer, so I have a question for you now. Obviously, this is quite a big deal. With this switch going to Netflix, but has it been explicitly stated that it is coming off of Nickelodeon and not going to both platforms at the same time.
No, they haven't said anything. I think one of the things that I personally I find kind of annoying from the fans is as soon as news breaks out, they immediately go and like tweet at Simon Bennett and just like prying him for questions. At no point in time has an executive producer on anything have had direct communication with its viewers, like to the point where they can like harass them to the point where they have to say something. I don't think fans have a direct connection to like Greg Berlanti. Of course, like, Greg Berlanti sees people's comments and stuff. Oh, the Flash sucks. Yeah, I know Flash sucks. But he never like directly communicates with them. I think that I don't know if it's an asset or a liability to have that type of direct connection to someone fully in control of a franchise like that.
Yeah, especially Power Rangers, right? You see these figureheads in Power Rangers, how much like Ryan Parrott as another one. Kyle Higgins was another one, right? They were just hounded by fans. I mean, Jason Bischoff's another one. Like, it just happens. I mean, that's the way the Power Ranger community is. They're rabid. It's a rabid fan base. But I'm all for it. You know why? Because I don't think that we get news as consistently as other major franchises. So maybe it's those small nuggets of news that we really bite on, kind of like this. Like, if something like this happened in like Marvel, this would be a minor story compared to like a casting story or like a character coming to the MCU. But I do like the fact that Power Rangers is really diving into their own mythology and starting to make that prevalent and an important part of the franchise going forward. Because I think that's what you have to do nowadays in order to make a shared universe.
True. I mean, you say that it's a good idea to have that kind of connection, or like have fans like chewing at the bits for little things like that, but I just feel like Hasbro needs to release stuff.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's good to have a steady flow of news when it comes. It is. You're not
gonna get it with like a show like Power Rangers for sure. It's just not, at least right now in its iteration, you're not gonna get like breaking news every single day as far as what's coming out, because it's a very methodical or it's a very like it's a normal thing. They already got the process down. The formula hasn't changed much.
Okay, let me ask you guys another question. Daniel, I'm going to ask you this one. Do you think that when they had Hasbro Investor Day, that they knew exactly where the direction of Power Rangers is going? And then conversely, do you think currently, right now, this second, Power Rangers knows which direction it's exactly going?
Truth of the matter is, I'm going to say yes. And I think they're playing it right kind of close to the vest. And they're doing something that's very interesting. If you've noticed, when it comes to social media and large companies that provide entertainment, some of them are doing a thing where they are kind of letting things slip or interacting with one small little tweet, and people are going crazy over it. For example, I mean, it's kind of a given that wrestling would do it, but wrestling did it, where they had, what's his name? Somebody tweet something about a ref, and then he was like, hey, and then he tweeted back, hey, this ref, come meet me in my office on Friday, and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's so big. Power Rangers seems to be doing that too. We'll give information to actors, let them say something. And it's not a slip. We want them to get it out. And then after that, we're going to have people tweet about it. And then we'll interact with particular tweets. We'll say this, we'll say that. And maybe we won't even actually comment or retweet. We'll just say something concerning this tweet. And then people are like, oh my God, hey, wait, that was a thought or a question I had. They addressed it. And people are feel like they're being paid attention to. But it's like they're only paying attention to or referring to tweets or however you may do it concerning things that they already have in their trajectory. They have a plan. I think they know exactly where they're going to go. I think they know exactly what they're going to do. And they're letting the news slip out according to how they want it. They're really calculated. I want
to say shout out Toku Chris in the chat. What up, brother? Hey, more phenomenal. What's going on? Look at seeing these familiar folks in here. Yeah, man, it's up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen, I'm excited to see what does happen. I think any kind of change in Power Rangers, any kind of shakeup at all, always feels good to me. It always feels like it's something new. I want to get back to where we were back in 2017 when there was this buzz around Power Rangers. You know what I mean? That 2017 movie was coming out. It felt like this was that was right around the time like the Boom Studios comics were so hot. But now, like, I want to get us back there as a fandom. But I think that we can. And look, let me ask you, for the last couple of presentations that Hasbro's done, would you say that they've improved?
Yeah.
Like their overall presentation of Power
They
Rangers?
improved. They definitely improved.
I feel like those steps, those little baby steps, those are the things that are helping me grow confidence more with the franchise and knowing that it's not going away. And I think that's also another important thing. But, look, I'm sure, too, that COVID had a lot to do in terms of changing the infrastructure of how Power Rangers was going to run, especially now, especially with the way films are releasing now. I know we're getting closer to a place where people are going back to theaters to watch them, but we're not there yet. We're not there 100% yet, and we don't know when that's going to be. But we do know that by the time this Power Ranger movie goes into production, things should be getting back to normal. So, and I think, and I don't know which one's coming first, but everything that at least everything that I was told previously, the focus was on that movie. I know the focus is on that movie, and something else we haven't heard about in a very long time is Jonathan Entwistle's involvement in Power.
Yes,
I do know that he is currently working on an Apple Plus series. He's show running that as well. So there's a lot to juggle. But I will say this. I will not be surprised if Jonathan Entwistle is not the executive producer by next year on Power Rangers. I would not be shocked if somebody else ends up in that role.
Wow, that's a bold statement right there.
I agree, because the thing is, when they first announced it, it was the biggest thing ever, and we'll talk about it forever. And then quiet, not a word, nothing from him. Like, I'm thinking he was so excited, wouldn't he at least every once in a while tweet something, show us some character kind of like, drawing or anything, or just a bit or a storyline or something. He did nothing.
I think it's because they were still flushing out a lot of those ideas. And I currently think they still are, but I think that's the important thing, because I think that whatever's going on with this movie, it sets up with what the franchise is going to be for the next however long. And I think that they're doing their best to get it right.
So they're not going to say anything until they know they've got it.
Well, I don't think they're going to say anything. I don't think they're going to say anything until a solid plan is solidified and they're comfortable with a draft of the script. I think that once we get, we're not going to get a draft. Well, who knows? Actually, because we do have other scripts. I just realized that. But anyway, it's whatever drafted they're comfortable with, and whatever that pitch is going to be going to casting directors. That's when we're going to start hearing more about that. We're going to see other producers come on board and take roles. But I'm really, really curious to see what's going to happen with this movie. But yeah, that's Jonathan Entwistle news has been dead silent. Matter of fact, pulling the curtain back a little bit, anytime I've tried to bring it up in any official Power Ranger interview I've done with Hasbro specifically, I've been completely asked not to ask specifically about any involvement Jonathan Entwistle has with the franchise currently. It's mainly, and not to scare anybody or anything, it's probably because they don't want to misspeak and have news going around that's going to spread like wildfire that might have to get retracted later.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, I mean, maybe a reason that we haven't been getting much movie news is Hasbro's focus is more on G.I. Joe and Transformers right now. I do know that they just cast another person for the 7th Transformers. Maybe it's just not their time yet. Like, let's release Snake Eyes, see how that does. Work on casting more people for Transformers, and then Power Rangers. Like maybe end of this year, or early next year, we'll see some news pop up about it.
Yes, Kyle Higgins will not be the executive producer on Power Rangers. Kyle
No.
has a lot going on, and I think it's pretty effing cool right now. Has anybody been reading his book, his new comic book?
I've been reading comic books. It's been a while.
Oh gosh, give it. If any of you guys loved Power Rangers, give it a shot. Kyle Higgins, he knows what he's doing. That guy knows. he would have been an amazing. He would have been an amazing. If we would have just gotten like a little short or like a film, like a little mini series. By the way, I think that's another thing. This is me spitballing here, and this is me fantasy booking what I think that project is Power Rangers. I think personally, and this is, do not take this with any kind of fact right now, because I don't want to be held to
this as fact as a
I personally think it's going to be a miniseries that is going to focus on the original Power Rangers.
Oh, you mean the new show, you mean?
I think it's going to focus on, the original, like Jason, Tommy, like all those cats. I think it's going to be something.
I have to agree with you. I think we're going back. We're going back to that series again.
And I think it's going to end up being some type of mini series or something that's going to flush out like our genesis point for what.
Maybe you guys know. Robert Kirkman, like, was he was the one that wrote the actual Walking Dead comics, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So he wrote Invincible, and he has this show on Amazon Prime. So it's not unheard of. I'm not saying that it is, but it's not unheard of for a comic book writer to helm a TV production or a movie or whatever.
Not at all. Not at all. Matter of fact, back in the early 2000s, that was pretty par for the course, especially horror graphic novels. There was a ton of that popping up. Like Stephen Niles had one. Like it was like almost, if you made a comic book at that time, you got it immediately optioned as like a television show or a movie or something. So that is absolutely something that's still going on. But Jezzer, something else that you said that is very striking too is that, yeah, you're right. Hasbro is focusing a lot of its attention, especially towards the later part of this year, on G.I. Joe. And then I feel like we're going to see a shift next year, and it's going to be very Transformers heavy because we have so many Transformers things in the works. We know that, the animated movie that's going to be coming out and the live action movie that's coming out, which we broke the
which one? Beast
Alliance.
Is that animated or live action?
That's the live action. So I think after that dies down, I think that's when Power Rangers is going to get its chance to really shine.
2023.
But I think, look, let's be honest, Hasbro, or at least in terms of movie studios, it's not the biggest movie studio in the world. So it only makes sense for them to partner up with a studio like Paramount, because Paramount, look, man, and especially with these movie studios changing so much now or going out of business, like, it's insane to me. But now Paramount, with something like this, they can get their own kind of shared cinematic universe. Transformers and G.I. Joe and Power Rangers is a great way to do that. Those are a lot of properties a lot of fans remember.
True.
D&D too. And Magic the Gathering, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And D&D, like D&D, that's an Entertainment One movie that's going to be coming out. And man, we were breaking some big stories on casting there, and they're going after big names for that D&D movie. So I can only imagine, depending on what they want to do with Power Rangers, especially in a cinematic world, I think they're going to want to hit it hard with fairly large actors.
Do you think we're getting bigger names versus the 2017 movie?
Hey, could you have imagined that Dungeons and Dragons was going to have like big names in that movie? You know what I mean? Like,
I can see it.
Kind of see it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is, like, I think so. I think that they are going to start, or fairly large names, like, think Haley Steinfeld was just in Bumblebee, right? Like, people on that type of level, and like the John Cena was in that movie. I think that they're definitely aiming for some actors.
I think if they go through the movie way, it would be kind of, they got not super high-end stars, because then they could say, hey, we want to turn this into a TV series. It's like how they did like with the Turbo movie and stuff like that, where it followed on. So you have the main production of a film, and then they move on to something and say, hey, we'll get you X person that we want in right now. And then they carry it on that way to kind of keep it fresh, rather than, like 2 years down the line when we do a second film, we can't get the original actors back. So it kind of keeps it fresh in someone's mind.
That is true.
I would agree. That would be a genius move. I mean, that would be one amazing sweep, because it's like, now I'm keeping it going. You're able to go ahead and continue, because you'll watch a movie, and if it's a really good movie and you liked it, you enjoy the franchise, you're like, oh man, I wonder what would happen then. Then you're doing your own fantasy booking, and thinking about this, that, and the other. But instead of having to do that, it's literally there in front of you. Oh, that makes it the best thing ever. That's like ridiculous fan service.
I think that with the if they're gonna connect the live action TV series and the movie, I think that it's gonna be a separate team or like a separate characters, like, in the sense so that they can continue on with the storyline and not have any hiccups, kind of like how they did, like the Defenders series, like the Defenders series and the Power Ranger and the Avengers, like separate but still within the same and what they intended would be the same universe. One interesting thing that Toku Chris said in the chat says that Hasbro wants some Cobra Kai actors. Word has it. That's interesting. That is interesting.
It's interesting.
I think when people fan cast it, they always look to the Cobra Kai cast.
That's very true.
Very special, and that was taking a franchise and really reinventing it. And you see that can be done successfully. Mighty Ducks is currently doing that now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's only a matter of time until Power Rangers gets this same treatment. And here we are. Like 2023 is going to be huge for Power Rangers, I think. 30-year anniversary and a new movie coming out and getting announcements of new shows.
You know what, that actually like plays out perfectly. Like you couldn't have written it any better for a resurgence of Power Rangers on the 30th anniversary of the franchise. I think that's what they're going to aim for. Do you think we're going to get any big news come August?
Oh, I certainly hope so, man. I really do. Who knows? I mean, right now, I think that a lot of the decisions that they've been making have come pretty out of the blue. Like, it's all stuff that we've kind of laid out a year ago, and now we're starting to see the chips fall. Mm-hmm. But all the announcements are coming at really random moments.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something to keep track of. But at least on the movie front, currently everything's been quiet more recently.
Yeah.
Speaking of random moments, we were talking about Netflix and Power Rangers. How do you think it's going to work for airing Power Rangers?
I think
do you mean like they're going to be released weekly, or are they going to like release the whole
exactly?
Season? That's a great question.
I think it will be weekly. It would make more sense rather than saying having every single episode available, because people will binge watch it and then they'll go, right, I've got nothing to watch until next year. If they do it 22 episodes but do it weekly, I would also love it if they did it at a hiatus as well, just for like 6 weeks, just nothing on Netflix.
Oh wow!
No.
Yeah, you are evil.
Evil.
I actually think they might release it in chunks, maybe 4-episode chunks.
Is there a show? Is there a show on Netflix right now that they're doing it week by week?
Right, they're testing.
They're
testing certain shows with blocks. Like I think it's like 4-episode blocks. I think Power Rangers might find itself in that kind of a situation, mainly because with a show like that. I mean, and also Power Rangers is a fascinating option, because as you guys know, the cast is pretty much here for like a year, even though they're done shooting. So the show's essentially in the can. I know that they're still doing post stuff with like ADR and stuff like that, but essentially the show's in the can. So I'm curious how the release schedule is going to work, because Power Ranger is on such a classic like television show season where it's like we're going to go on for 9 weeks and we're going to go on for 3 months and some weird shit like that, right? Like Netflix doesn't have to deal with this kind of shit. What's going on?
No, they don't have to.
You think they're wrapped?
No, they're not wrapped. I'm just saying that, like, you know, once they're gonna eventually wrap. When did they go out there? Probably it was like August, September, right?
Yeah, I think they should be done filming by September. I think they should be done by September, because that's usually around the time that they send them back home.
Well, they send them back home for that Christmas break, right? And then they send them back out. So it's gonna be interesting. Or maybe they already had the Christmas break. I just realized that they're already out there with it.
Yeah.
Or they're already back here for this. Yeah,
they
were
right. Back
cool.
And then they went back. Yeah.
That's right. So, so then they're on the second half now. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot to unpack with this Power Ranger Netflix thing, huh?
There's so much. I mean, the possibilities are, I wouldn't say endless, but they are large. There are so many.
Toku Chris says Hasbro's Power Ranger vision is live action movies, animated kids program, a high budget, low episode season drama. Series geared towards adult. I think that's essentially what we had all laid out, pretty much what it is.
Yeah, we've been saying that exact thing.
Why would they make an animated show? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Animated kids program, not.
Why would they do that? They already have Voltron.
Yeah, Voltron. Well, that's like, you don't need anything else.
You don't need
Like,
it.
There's
no
not allowed
point to
that.
it. No, I'm just
You
joking
know?
around.
That's a-
I'm just joking
Why
around.
would anyone do that?
Yeah.
I would love,
It's like-
honestly, a Power Rangers. And I know certain people are turned off by that idea, but I'm really excited for a Power Rangers animated show. As long as I think it could be pretty.
I'd love an anime version. Oh,
Yes.
anime version would
What
be
was that?
amazing.
Was that anime version of was it X-Men that's on Netflix?
Yeah, that was back on those G4 days.
Yeah, man. XMen Wolverine.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be
Hey,
amazing.
did any of you guys order the red Century from the Lightning
I
collection?
did.
Did you get? Is yours delayed?
Yes, till October.
Oh, mine too.
Oh.
Yeah, you had to confirm it, right? Like I got an email from Target. I was like, what the hell? What's going on here? I don't know.
Why is that happening? I don't.
Oh, there was some toy news too. That like stuff's coming out August, like Zords and a sword and a max and a mask.
Is-
Yeah,
I did not hear that.
yeah,
Oh, yes, it did. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I want the Ryu Soldier sword that people are buying. Is that still available? Like the really really high end, high grade one that's like super shiny and sharp and shit. That looks dope.
I know that one. I will find that for you.
Yeah. God, I get it. Voltron is like Power Rangers in a way. I don't know. Yeah, I guess Voltron is like Power Rangers in a way. They kind of work hand in hand.
The only way that they are, in a way, is just that there's a mech. I mean, there's a mech that interconnects.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way that it's like, in a way, because the Voltron, the Paladins, aren't always usually out of the suit fighting and everything. They may get out and use their sacred weapons every once in a while, but usually it's like, they're a tactical force. So it's more of, all right, let's get into this place, let's shoot around, get what we need, and then extract. That's what they do, and then everything else is what's happening inside of Voltron, and that's to still take care of everything and move. Power Rangers is, all right, we're fighting outside of the suit. It's a lot of hand to hand, kung fu, karate, and then when we can't beat them, let's get in the Zord.
Yeah.
I mean, they're different formulas, man. So,
Hey, Jezzer, do you still think the Super Sentai is going to end?
I think so. I think I don't think you're talking about like they're gonna stop making Super Sentai, or stop.
Yeah, isn't
stop
that
adapting Super Sentai?
no? Stop making Super Sentai.
I don't know. I haven't seen Zenkaiger. That'd be an heirloom question. What do you think, heirloom?
I thought you told me that you thought that Super Sentai was going to be done.
Well, I didn't because I didn't watch because based off when I said that I was basing it off the images that came out for Zenkaiger, that it looked like like an anniversary season, like a love letter to Super Sentai, and that that could be like an ending. But I haven't been watching it. Erlen, what from the tone, what do you think?
I don't know, because Sentai follows a formula where it's serious, silly, serious, silly, and it always goes along those sorts of lines. I kind of think it's more. I reckon that if they do end it, they'll see how Zenkaiger does. That's the reason why they've got these like the gimmicks with the gears, where they're releasing like normal ones, and purple ones, and red ones, and they're going to see how much money it makes. If it doesn't do very well, then I think that's it. It could. I don't think it's going to end. I think they'll stop it for a while. But I think that's the reason why they brought in Two Kaiser, the Gokai Gold, because everyone loved Gokaiger. So if it was more like, oh hey, let's see if this works, and if this can breathe a bit of life into it. But so far it's not been a bad series. It's definitely a silly Sentai. So it might roughly end a bit, but I don't think maybe like when it hits 50. I think that could possibly end it on a nice number rather than 45.
Well, that's true.
well, I mean, I'll say alternate universe time traveling Daniel, or as you guys know him, Blackwing 2040.
Oh shit!
Says Sentai is not gonna end, because if they did, Toei would be out of their minds. Like if they just had to stop now. Like I really don't think they would end. I agree with him. I don't think they will.
I mean, that's like kind of the same thing if a Power Ranger fan saying, "Oh, Sentai, the toy deal was not going to end because if that ends, then Power Ranger ends." That kind of sounds like the same.
True.
This is it's almost been a year. I'm gonna make a fucking shirt about this now. I like, just to reconfirm, I get this question on Twitter quite often. Still, do I still think Hasbro and Toy are separate, parting ways. Yes, I think the writing is clear as day. Me personally, I think the writing is clear as day. Look, the only thing that I can say that seems that a little bit more apprehensive than anything else is that Hasbro is rolling out the plans for exactly what we had stated in our story, but it also seems like there's a bit of negotiation that's still taking place, not necessarily even with Toy, but with just other partners they have, whether it be Boom Studios or whoever else. It just seems like there's some apprehension there to really solidify what exactly is going to happen.
You know what I think? If Entwistle isn't involved with the movie, who a person that I would like to pick to helm the movie series at least.
Who's that?
Jordan, what's his name? Jordan Vogt Roberts, the guy that did like Skull Island, and he's actually going to be.
He's doing Metal.
Huh?
Yeah.
Metal Gear.
No, he's doing Metal Gear, and he's also going to do a Gundam movie.
Yeah.
So I think.
Wait, there's a Metal Gear movie?
Yeah, there's going to be a Metal Gear movie with the dude.
Apocalypse.
Oscar Isaac.
Isaacs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'd be perfect for like that kind of franchise, like just.
I think so. Metal Gear.
I remember Joey saying that, just like hearing his ideas, like, wow, this guy is like a huge fan. Like this is perfect. Like he's a huge fan, but he's also in the realm of like the Hollywood suits,
Hey, let me ask you somebody else that's been really quiet, had a big blast in Power Rangers, went viral. What about Adi Shankar for this adult one? I mean, do you think he's too much for the franchise?
I think so. I think he's a little.
I think honestly he'll probably think he's too much. Like, he's like, yeah, I did it, and now that I did it, I want to move on to other things. I don't want to go back to something I did.
Yeah. What is he on? What is he working on right now?
I don't know. That's why I was just trying to think of like different.
Hit him up, man. Text him right now. Say, what are you working on right now?
Yeah.
Hey,
let me do a voice. Let me do a voice for the last Castlevania season.
Yeah.
So they should just get the writers of Voltron to come in and just do it that way.
Should. Well, they're trying to get them to fix that freaking of Avatar: Last Airbender live action. So.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, but I think that's all we got for this week.
Yeah, this was a good talk about Power Rangers. I think that by the way, if they did want to do like an animated thing, the idea that they threw away, I don't think they can do it at this point now because I don't think Kyle Higgins would let them. But I think that the World of the Coinless would have been a pretty cool idea.
Cool idea.
However, that last fucking comic, what was it? What was the one with the Pink Ranger where she goes back to the World of the
Draken.
Yeah. For me. That I never want to go back to the World of the Coinless.
I'm done. No. I'm done where they all morphed and they got all these weird freaking suits. Like no, I'm done.
Right.
Done with this. Oh, we've got another super chat. From Thomas DeCoste. I remember this guy. Joe had said he knew about the future of Power Rangers after Dino Fury around February-ish. Is that still true?
Yeah, and I think it was stated in that call that Heirloom tapped. There's going to be a movie and a new TV show, which I had seen. I think that's still the plan. Thank you so much for the super chat, though, Thomas. I will say this though. I know that look on that front, like I said, the news that I'll probably get sooner than anything else, I'll be 100% transparent with you guys, is going to end up being the movie news. So like as soon as I hear more about that, like look, you guys are going to hear more about it too. And we're close. It's not there yet, but we're close. I know that they're still working things out.
Nice.
Wow. I mean, to that, all I have to say is hashtag release the Black Book. But I mean, that's something I heard about. I don't know what that is.
Are you still getting those, Joe?
Not as frequently.
We need to do it again.
We need to make sure he gets a.
But you guys, thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday. Let's go down the list. Erilyn, where can we find you on social media, and what future videos you got, ready to release soon?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram as Erilyn, and Twitter. I was going to say Twitcher, Twitter, Main Street Live, and Twitch, Erilyn, and pretty much just random Ranger stuff. Maybe some what ifs, some video games. I don't know. How about you, gentlemen?
Daniel?
Nothing big coming up. I am again on a podcast called That's Life on Rat House Productions, and pretty much it's just a comedian, a producer, and a musician come together, and we talk about what's happening in pop culture and just kind of share some of our life. That's it.
Joe.
Tomorrow, I'm going to be defending the Power Ranger honor on the wrestling show.
What?
So you can watch there live at 8 p.m. Talking Power Rangers on the wrestling show. But you can also find me on all social media at Joe Illuminerdi. No more of this black book shit. But I promise you, we'll have something very soon, Power Rangers related in terms of news. But like, I don't dictate when I get that shit. It just happens sometimes, you know? But I have a feeling it's coming fairly soon.
You can find me on all social media at Jazzazoos. I am going to be doing a special like gaming live stream with
Call from Resi Reyes.
sorry, I'm getting gaming live stream with Dahlia. We're gonna be playing It Takes Two as soon as she gets back to LA.
Oh,
So you guys
nice.
can check that out.
When's she coming back to LA?
I don't know.
this-
I think sometime this month. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you guys, thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday. Thank you for watching the Ranger wrap up. Thank you for all you guys for taking time out of your day to talk Power Rangers like we do every Saturday. And Joe, wanna sign us out?
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining us, as Jezzer said. And please hit that like, share, and subscribe button and that notification button to stay up to date with everything trending in geek pop culture.
Peace.